A Russian Su-25 manages to limp back to the airbase despite suffering huge damage. Possibly one of the most heavily damaged aircraft to still fly in the sky, and actually no one was killed. Let's jump in and talk about this crazy event. So basically in Ukraine right now, Russian forces are flying not exactly uncontested. There is plenty of Ukrainian anti-aircraft fire that is constantly shooting down Russian Air Force pilots. Unfortunately, this is a terrible situation for both sides, but it still means as aviation fans that we can hear some incredible stories. For example, these two Su-25 Russian aircraft that were originally designed in the Cold War were flying out on patrol when they were targeted by Ukrainian anti-air defense systems. Coming from one of the pilots in the plane, a missile was fired from the Ukrainians on the ground, and then he noticed that his wingman was deploying flares. These flares managed to either distract the missile or make the missile switch target to his jet, where it exploded nearby. Normally, such an explosion would take out an aircraft, but in this case it only managed to heavily damage it. The pilot was recommended to eject, but didn't want to abandon his aircraft, so he managed to limp it home back and land it very softly at the airbase, where you can now see, thanks to Russian television, the incredible damage that this aircraft has sustained. We can see that one of its engines is completely rotating like a broken pedestal fan, and that there is incredible rips throughout the entire fuselage. A crazy amount of damage, and that this aircraft was still able to fly. It is believed that both the pilots will be presented with state awards for this remarkable recovery from a missile strike. This is a very unique aircraft that has actually been used throughout the war in Afghanistan, where it would get similar hits and strikes but still be able to survive and return back to the airfield. This is incredible because it just goes to show that you can engineer an aircraft that is so robust that it can sustain heavy damage and still manage to get home. And if you're wondering, it is very unlikely that the Russians will redeploy this aircraft, although anything is possible with these sanctions, because it looks like that even the slightest G-forces, even a gust of wind, would cause it to rip apart again. So it's an absolute miracle that it was able to fly and land back safely, especially for these pilots. This aircraft looks like it's going to enter the legend books with other aircraft like the F-15, which records have shown that it can actually generate enough lift with its body that it doesn't need the wings to fly, which actually happened to a broken F-15 as it successfully landed without its right wing, as well as the F-4, which has the namesake that even a barn door can fly with enough thrust. Thanks so much for joining today's video, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. And just a little disclaimer, I'm towing the line here between looking at Russian propaganda and reporting the facts, so I've deliberately tried to ignore anything that is sort of over stylized or something that would be misconstrued as something that is negative to this brutal conflict that is ripping apart families and hurting so many people with loved ones. So stay safe out there, and I hope you have a great day.